I hit live on my Facebook page, so let me just find the video really quick and then I will make it public so that way you can share it as well. Okay, I just made the video that we're streaming live to Facebook public so that way you can share it to your page. Let me
Okay.
here so I can monitor the questions. Hello, everyone. Hey, y'all. Hey, so I am back today. Y'all, I feel really good with having like all of my special guests that are on here because it's Black History Month, even though Black History is designated every day because we can't get out of this skin. Like it's every single day. But I thank God for being able to host people who are doing some major things within their family, within the community, and just within this world, period. So yesterday, we talked to Nakia Holmes, who and her husband have invested in over 300 properties. That still blows my mind. Helping their renters to become homeowners and also investors. But what I took away from that was her talking about her 8-year-old, which her 8-year-old wanted to invest into some of their investment properties and took $100 of his money, invested into their property, and got back 300 and then reinvested again. And I'm like, if that's not building generational wealth, I don't know what is. And so today, y'all, I have another special guest that is on as well. And her name is Donzie Titus. I met her on the internet pretty much like everybody else. Just meet people on the internet, but it is a mutually a spirit that connects all of us that we're able to like just jump in, especially with kingdom language, and jump right in and we feel at home with each other. So Donzie, I'm going to ask that you introduce yourself to our audience and then we'll take it from there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Donzie Titus, aka Yaz Girl. I met Makita like 2 years ago. It's like 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, I was in Florida at the time. I am a international real estate investor, also a broker owner with Royal Realty. The home office is based out of Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a wife of 17 years, 16, 17 years, one of those. 4 children. And I'm just very, very passionate about living out my truth. And doing that, my husband and I have been on a very exciting journey, a real estate journey, a living journey is what I like to call it. And in that process, we've been exposed to so many great people like Makita, who continue to feed us with so much wisdom and knowledge that's attached to kingdom wealth, which is also attached to dominion like ownership. I know you guys hear real estate, own, buy. But my husband and I, we've gotten to a season of life where we just don't want basic ownership. We desire dominion like ownership. So that's where we're at in our season of life right now. And Makita has played a huge part in that. And so I'm just so grateful to be here.
You know what? I want to just go and dive right into you opening up that door and just to say that it's not just about ownership, but it's like having dominion. When you hear like people talk about owning international real estate and being able to like have an investment property globally in your portfolio, you said dominion. Can you break that down to our audience and to me? What do you mean by dominion? Like taking up space and territory, dominion. What do you mean by it?
Dominion. So that's exactly what it means to my husband and I. Dominion is a totally different level of ownership. Dominion does not just stop at the possession of the physical key, right? The physical key to unlock that door and simply reside in this development or to reside in this property. Dominion actually goes to another level, a more spiritual level. Not only do you reside there, the mindset changes, but you're there physically, but from a spiritual standpoint, you are there spiritually, correct? Meaning that once you're there in a spiritual space, you no longer look at this home as just a house to live in, you look at it as wealth. You look at this as a temporary space. And what I mean by temporary space is my husband and I, we have the mindset of, we don't limit the definition of home to anything physical, right? So home to us is in the heart. So that's why we're always moving and grooving. Like in every season, our home looks different. It feels different. So dominion like ownership for us means to understand and know the true value of wealth, generational wealth that supersedes the physical existence of the purchase
Mm-hmm.
or of the person, right? So dominion is literally possessing that thing, generation through generation through generation. So when you have dominion over something, you don't just have dominion over that physical thing, you have dominion and ownership over that thing spiritually. Meaning, in my physical absence, whatever is inherited to my children, nobody will come in and possess and take unless we give them the authority to come in, possess, and take it. So that's what dominion means to us.
Listen, that's right up my alley. It's right up my space because um you would get just got introduced to ChatGPT. I was like, Donzie, send me a bio. You was like, bio. I said, girl, just go on ChatGPT. You was like, I'm not familiar with that. But with ChatGPT, with AI, the thing that I was like, you know what, I'm always on ChatGPT. I've been on it for over a year, so it's like it's gotten to know my brand, it's gotten to know the mission. They know what my 5-year plan looks like, what my 10-year plan look like. And I was like,
Mhm.
I dropped in there my new phrase. And the phrase does is just confirmation to what you just said. It is real estate, no, faith, real estate, and dominion. Faith, real estate, and dominion.
Mm.
Real estate and dominion is not the same thing. And just like you just broke down,
Mm-mm.
when you think about taking dominion, dominion is the actual place, but it is the place in which you have been called to. It's the place to where you are purposed to. And just like you talked about, like your place of residence, like your home, like you move from different place to different place. So I want to ask you, as a person who have been moving about, I read just yesterday on social media about how the Department of Education may be, dismantling, no longer be. But then there was this prophet that I came across their video, and they talked about getting back to like educating your children and homeschooling your children like at home. And when you talked about dominion and like every place that you and your family go to, that is home, because home is where the heart is. How has it been moving from place to place, dominion, taking up space? How has that been moving about with your family, having children?
That's a good question. We get that question a lot.
Okay.
We do have our seasons of challenge, but just like with anything, there's going to be a few challenges when you try something new. Literally, we were at the bank, and the banker just asked us that exact same question: "How in the world do you do it with the children?" And what my husband and I both agreed on was that, at first of all, as adults, we tend to overthink and complicate things for children, right? Children know how to adapt easily, right? They can adapt more easily than adults can, right? So when we try to step into that space and overthink the situation before even going into the situation, it really complicates things. So for the children, it's been a little challenging for them. But the beautiful thing is, with our children, it has built up their confidence level because now they know how to adapt in different environments.
Mm-hmm.
We have also taught them in these seasons to learn how to adapt but not conform, right?
Mm-hmm.
With them being around so many different type of cultures and different types of children that move and groove totally different than we do in the household. We have to teach them how to be strong enough to not to conform to their environment. It has really built resilience in our children. And I love seeing that because it reminds me that if we're in a situation to where daddy's not present, but mommy is, or mommy's not present, but daddy is, they are resilient enough to be okay with the physical absence of one parent. And they're strong enough to come together as a unit, all four of them, and grind through and be there for daddy in mommy's absence, or be there for mommy and daddy's absence. So it really builds more of a unity feel for the family. We're more tight knit now. You know, we may argue and fight in the house, but when we out in the street, we're a unit, right? So,
Yeah.
and I
I
taught that to them.
I saw
We
your little girl. You had posted her in the stories, and like I don't know if your husband had surprised you with a trip. Y'all was going on a trip, and like she was like, "No, like you're not going," because she was like she wanted to go too, or it could be that she wanted you to be at home. Do you
mm.
homeschool them?
So I did. Right now, I'm not homeschooling them
Okay.
because I am on a travel assignment. Actually, I'm on a break now. I took like a month off
Okay.
from doing nuclear medicine, so that's something else I do as well. So we're in New York because of that travel assignment. But before then, pre-COVID, Makita, we homeschooled our kids in Nashville, Tennessee. And when I tell you I miss it, when I tell you it was the best decision I ever made, it was hands down absolutely amazing. If I could give any tips or insight in that regard, keep it simple. Listen to the child. Teach the child in the way that they're going to receive the information, whatever that information is. Use every opportunity as a teaching tool. We would go grocery shopping. Somebody was in charge of making sure all the groceries in the cart. Somebody was in charge to make sure we had enough money. They were calculating everything. So when it comes to homeschool, there's so many different programs and platforms out here with homeschool, which makes it so challenging for moms or the parents. And my advice is to keep it simple, y'all. Keep it simple. You don't have to have all these different curriculums. Get a simple, basic curriculum and keep it fun. Have fun with the kids. We were singing, laughing, dancing. We didn't know no Spanish, but I made up Spanish songs. We're all just, it was just fun. And I miss that. I really miss that.
Okay. And I was asking a question like, why do you miss homeschooling? And it sounds like because you got to spend like quality time with the kids as well, and then got to see them learn and adapt like in different environments. Is that the reason why like you miss
That's
homeschooling?
mainly, and I'll say, Makita, the school systems that we've been exposed to on the traveling journey, it's a mess. My children, I was teaching them things when Abby was 6. She was doing multiplication, basic though.
Okay.
But I had a memory pop up while I had her multiplication sheet out, like 3 times 2, 5 times, that type of stuff. And it really, I'm gonna be truthful. I really feel like putting them in the school system set my kids back.
Okay.
I've seen the regress, and that hurts. That hurts my husband and I. We talk about it so much, but we're working toward, just staying on track with the vision right now,
Yeah.
and not getting too distracted. And that's hard. That's hard as a parent. And we're just focusing on the good part of it. They're out with other children. They're seeing life for what it is. They're not being sheltered in the home. They're being exposed to more. So when we do get back in that season to where we can
Yeah.
homeschool them, they'll appreciate it more.
And I can think about like any of the children that was being homeschooled that got pushed into the education system and then reverted backwards, because I have heard that the education system is not the same as like homeschooling because it's like more advanced for the children. But I did think about, putting them back into that environment, how they will begin to go backwards. I guess I kind of thought that because they had the homeschooling, they go here, they will be more advanced, but that doesn't always work for, every child. And so I want to say thank you for that honesty, because we have people on here that have children that are looking to homeschool as well. There are things that are happening and changing within the education system in our own nation. So I'm glad to hear an alternative. Now, when you say that you and your husband, y'all have conversations, because I mean, you keeping it all the way 100. And I'm sure the audience appreciate that. But when you say, and for those of you who are on here that, is enjoying this conversation, y'all know I be going live with good people. We ain't even get down to the juicy part yet. So make sure you share this information with your audience and reshare, especially if you are on Facebook. But when you say that you and your husband said, you know what, this is temporary, that we have them back in school, we have to make sure that we focus in on what the big picture goal is. Tell me, what does that big picture goal look like for you and your husband, and the sacrifices, that now you're making, but what is it you're making these sacrifices for? What purpose?
So the big picture goal for my husband and I is, for one, we have literally redefined our definition of retirement. Um, so we no longer conform our way of thinking to the culture that we were brought up in.
Okay.
So right now, my husband and I, we've been blessed with multiple avenues to maximize the skills that we've learned throughout the years in healthcare, real estate, and just life. We've learned how to maximize those skills to position us in a way to redefine our definition of retirement. So the big vision for us right now is to pretty much expedite the timeline of retirement for us, so that we can be in position for our children and our children's children, and not have to be those parents or grandparents who are steadily having to put the bag at the forefront of any decision. So right now the vision is, like I did a post, I don't know if you saw that post. Our vision is getting to a situation or having a mindset in life to where money is only a tool. It will not distract us. It will not guide us. It will not force us in any direction. It is a tool, and just like any other tool, we're gonna put that thing on the shelf, okay? And then when we need it, we'll pull it off the shelf and use it, right? So the vision is at the forefront, and we've been blessed to use the resources that we've worked over the years to obtain, the degrees and the knowledge, to position us to where we own the majority of our businesses, even the healthcare realm right now. We've been blessed, and we've positioned ourselves to where we're able to work for ourselves. So that's the vision for us, redefining our definition of retirement. And yes, that comes with sacrifice.
And can I just say how proud I am of you and the moves that you have been making, and just hearing the way that you articulate the moves that you and your husband and the decisions that you have made. All I hear is the like biblical
Mm.
principles, and it's evident in like what you're speaking. It's evident in like what you're doing, and I have the privilege to even see behind the scenes of some of the moves that you have been making. So if you're okay with sharing this, can you let us know what are those businesses that you and your husband own? I heard you mention real estate. I heard you mention healthcare. What are some of the businesses that you and your husband own? Are you tearing up? You gonna make me cry? What we doing?
Yes, I am tearing up, and I want to say that I'm tearing up
Just
because
stay there.
me sitting here in Makita's presence, to be asked, to be invited to her table, that's huge for me, y'all. Like, this is huge. These what you see is just vision. What you see here is resilience. What you see right now is just a manifestation of a soul, myself, not letting go of what I've always known to be true in my heart. This is the manifestation of it. You guys are just literally seeing it in the natural, but this moment, this has always been right here, and I've never let go of it. No matter what season of life I've been in, what challenge I have faced, what no I have received from the world, from my children, from my spouse, from myself. Sometimes we tell ourselves no. What you're seeing now is me not letting go of that vision and me
Okay,
holding on to it, and it's manifested. It has manifested. So that's why the tears are here. Sorry, I just
okay.
wanted to explain what
No
the tears
problem.
were.
You got me crying. I had to pull off my glasses and pat my little makeup on. Now I want to go deeper in that. I heard a message from myself from God as well when you were talking, when you was like, okay, now I'm in. Now I'm gonna tear up, y'all. Now I'm in, like, Makita's presence, to be on Makita's platform. And there's so many people that tell me that I don't see myself as big as what other people see me. And some
Mm,
people say, it's being humble, but I have to sit in that place in which God has called me to that higher place. And I
mhm,
was praying yesterday morning, and I was, reminded in prayer that I am seated in heavenly places. Like,
mm,
you're seated in heavenly places, you're seated in high places. And I was like, God, help me to see myself as you see me. And so I am not just, Makita, the real estate agent or the real estate broker. Like, I am the child of the Most High. Like, I
mm.
I walk with authority, and I have
Yes.
to go forth with boldness and being like you said. You can put money on a shelf. Okay, I can put money on a shelf. I can bring it down and use it as a tool to go out and do work for the kingdom. And so I hear everything it is that you're saying. But I want to ask you, Donzie, because you talked about you looking at resilience right now. How did you not give up? How did you, at that moment when you were like, okay, I can't go on. I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to even continue to, uh, and I'm hearing like there were days that you didn't even want to be here. And so, like, how did you get past it?
Understanding and knowing that there's seasons of life, right? And we have to be cognizant and understand what season we're in. And getting past those moments of wanting to give up, and not wanting to push through anymore. It just reminded me of, for one, I'm human. We have this fallacy in our head that we just go, 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 and do, and create, and produce. And we forget the fact that we're in flesh, right? We forget the fact that we're still in the position of a mother, position of a wife, and all these other positions. What pushed me past those moments is honestly, reaching out to my circle, crying out to my circle and being like, I need help. And those people look different in different seasons, and then when you get to that healing phase, remind yourself that what you went through is a gift. It's not a curse. It's a gift, because now you can empathize with a whole nother population of people that are going through or will go through what you just went through. So, understanding that part for me was huge. That's what has gotten me through a lot of my pain. That's where the resilience comes in, having a different mindset of the trials and the tribulations, and understanding that they're going to come and they're not a curse, they're a gift.
Mm-hmm.
They're a gift to build me. They're a gift to prepare me for that next thing. And a lot of times it's not about us. It's
Yeah.
about the next soul you're going to come in contact with, the next soul that you could probably free from what you just went through, just by saying, I empathize with you. Not you sympathize, I empathize with you. I was there, right? So just understanding that in itself, it has helped me to just push, like just keep going, keep pushing.
Okay, girl. Like, this is I love it. I feel like I want
Sorry,
to. I want
we kind of got off track. I didn't even talk about
no,
business.
no, no.
I'm sorry.
I see. I don't know how I make this happen, but I really see like a room of like women sitting on a couch and just having real conversations like this. Like real women like you and I that are entrepreneurs that have been through some things, that are chosen
Mm,
in this season, and being able to like let our hair down and just sit and just talk about the real, and
yes.
us being able to relate, because we know what it's like to be chosen and you leading the path and feeling like you're hitting that brick wall. But because you're clearing out lanes, not just like you said for yourself and your family, but for
Mm,
other people. And I was talking to my mentor earlier, and I was telling her, when you, hey, Teresa, when you are chosen, like David was picked out of his siblings. Like
Mm.
a lot of them, but David was chosen out of his siblings. There
Mm-hmm.
was Joseph who had a lot of siblings, but Joseph was chosen out of his siblings. And I want to say that for us, we are like many are called, but few are chosen. And so we are chosen out of so many people. And it's because that there's greater works. There's
Yes.
greater works for us to do. It's greater territory for us to conquer. And when we talk about territory, going back to what Donzie said, it's dominion, being able
Yes.
to take possession of where you are supposed to be and where you are purposed to be, where your bloodline is supposed to be, and then generations after generations. So that's why the attacks are so heavy, because it's not just connected to you and your household, Makita and my household, but it's the bloodline and then the generation after generation after generation. And so I'm going to ask you, Donzie, as you and your husband have been building. Oh, I know what you did tell me, because we'll go back to that. What are the different businesses? That's the
Okay.
question that you were supposed to answer. Yep. What are the different businesses?
Sorry. Okay. So of course the real estate brokerage, which is based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and now I'm into international real estate as well. So we have the
Okay.
real estate business, and then we also have the medical travel company. So my
Okay.
husband and I, we expanded into the medical travel world because we're both healthcare professionals, and we've been doing it. Geez, I'd say what 20 years for me. He's ex-military, so we have the healthcare travel business as well. I wish Solomon can chime in if it's something else I'm forgetting. Health and wellness coaching,
Okay.
but those are the main two.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, now that's good, because now I want to move over to international territories. I'll come back to the business and let you know why I was asking that. Now moving over to international territories. I believe when I met you in Orlando, I think it's been 3 years now. I'm not sure if
Three.
it's 3 years, but I think it's been the time has been.
Probably has.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
moving really quick. So I met you when we hosted a small event in Orlando, and I was hosting the event because I wanted real estate agents to figure out how they can get foreign investors to invest in the community that was in Orlando. And so you came out, and I know that at that time, you was like, it's a big deal, for you to be there at that time. But even then, you and I, we interviewed, we did a little video that Carl put together for us. And that's amazing, like how full circle now. Um, at that time, did you have the Dominican Republic property?
Yes.
Oh, you did. Okay. So now tell us, how did you start investing in international real estate, starting with the Dominican Republic? Like, how did that all come about?
So that came about through a friend of mine. He was actually an agent on the team, and he already had property in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And so I'm very adventurous. I told my husband, I was like, let's just go to DR. We've never been before. Let's just go anyway. So we went to DR. We linked up with the real estate agent in the Punta Cana area. So we were in Punta Cana. And we went there, had a great time. So we linked up with an agent who had a team there in the Dominican Republic. But they were specific to a different area that we really didn't know about, right? Which is Bayahibe. So the driver, we had a driver and everything. So the agent that we was linked up to, she told us about her driver. He was amazing. He's family now. I'm just put that out there. So all of my clients who go to DR, Alex is the one picking them up. He's doing all the things. He's taking care of our property right now. He's just absolutely amazing. So we linked up with the driver, and the driver is a native from Bayahibe. And so the driver was like, yes, everybody likes Punta Cana. He's like, but let me show you my hometown. And me and my husband was like, let's go. Because we love to do what the locals do. We're really not about the tourist life. We like to go off the beaten path. Everybody may go right or left, we'll go straight. Me and my husband, we just like to do the complete opposite of the majority.
Okay.
So we went to buy at eBay. And when I tell you, Makita, we fell in love as soon as we hit that town. We were like, oh my gosh, gorgeous, beautiful. It was just it's just amazing. So that's how we found out about that location in DR and Bayou Bay. And so we bought the property. The way we bought the property was nothing but the Lord. We got two no's at first. They even sold, well, went under contract with another person. And Makita, let me tell you something. I was living in an RV at that time. I went in that bathroom and I cried. When the agent called me, he said, they've already went under contract with somebody else. I went in the bathroom, y'all. I cried and I said, not so. And I just let it go. I never let go of it in my heart. The
Mhm.
next day, they said, well, unfortunately, these people had an issue. Unfortunate for them, in Florida, their house was damaged by the hurricane. Now, keep in mind, we were living in Florida in an RV, having the same hurricane warnings, right? Like in an RV. But these people who put the house under contract, they had house damage and everything. We had no damage, no nothing. And of course, we went under contract with the property. And so now it's ours.
Wow. Wow. And that's been what, 3, 4 years?
Yes. I think it's in
Okay.
about three, yeah, 3, 4 years. Wow. Yeah, three and a half, four
Okay,
years.
so before we go to the other country in which you are now investing in, let's stay right here with the one that's in the Dominican Republic, which is in this area outside of Punta Cana. Can you tell us what has the experience been like with owning? So I know you rented out short-term rental. You and your husband, your family, you stay there when you are in town. What has the experience been with like renting it out? I know you are already working with somebody local, but what has your experience been as an investor international?
So, full transparency, my experience from an Airbnb perspective, renting out short term, it has been pretty challenging. And you know why? It's because everybody's doing it, right?
Okay,
Also, in DR, the cost is much cheaper. Right,
okay,
so like the nightly rent is much cheaper. So the average nightly rent is much cheaper than what you would get here in the States.
okay,
And Bayou Bay is a really, really hot spot, and it's a small town.
hmm,
Um, Being that me and my husband, we have our values in
hmm,
order, we spent quite a bit to renovate it nicely to where if the family and I wanted to go and live there or be there for a month or whatever, it's accommodating to the family.
okay,
So from that regard, we're not going to put it for a cheap price nightly. So
yeah,
our bookings haven't been as high, and we're okay with that
okay,
because we bought that with the vision of having ownership in the Caribbean. So we're okay if it's not like a constant return from an Airbnb perspective.
okay,
So from us, from an Airbnb perspective, we haven't gotten that much traffic because we filter the request and we set the price point higher than the majority on purpose. Because if we do rent it out, we want somebody that's going to take care of the property.
and the one when you were renting it out, are you renting it out for a short term? You renting it out for long term? I know that
Both.
the both.
Both. So
Okay,
we've had a few requests for long term,
mhm,
but the timing just didn't match up,
okay,
and the numbers didn't align.
okay.
But yeah, and we've had requests for short term too. So it's been more so short term.
Okay, now I'm going to, practice on saying the name of the area, but do you think the area that you're in now with the property that you have, that there's more traffic in the Punta Cana area because that's the area that people know? Or do you think that people are now learning about the area in which you and your husband have invested in? Say the name of
Oh, I think the term learn is
Okay,
that Bahia eBay is crazy. It's crazy. It's
okay.
crazy. They are building all over the place. It's almost like no more space. Like everything, you just have to walk through it. But
Really? Really,
people,
really?
the investors that are coming in from other countries,
Uh-huh.
um, it's mind blowing. And only in the short amount of time that we've been there, we've seen developments. Like there's developments popping up by our condo. I mean, we're talking about nice stuff, upscale,
What's
really,
the
really nice things.
price
Oh,
point?
and the prices are really low. Like we're looking at like under 100,000. You
Okay,
know, and you still like for a studio, you're looking at about like 65, 70. So the prices are still low. They still have the same payment plan strategy,
okay,
kind of like Ghana. The payment plan and everything is still the same.
okay.
Yeah, prices are really low.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to look into it because I just want to compare that area in terms of price points. Because, like in Punta Cana, when I started 3 years ago, you were able to get like a studio or a one bedroom for like 65,000. You can't get that anymore. So to be able to still get it in your area, like I would love to look at that and be able to, like, just offer people some different alternatives as well. How far in driving distance is it from Punta Cana?
Like 45 minutes.
Okay,
45 minutes without traffic, with a little traffic, it's about an hour.
okay,
So, and I will say, like, the Bay area, the thing that really sold me and my husband and I was that we noticed that the port, like the area where all the tourists come in and they get on like the fun boats and the travel
okay,
boats, and they go um, to Catalina Island, all these different islands and stuff, and party and have fun. It's in Bay.
okay.
So they drive the buses from Punta Cana to
Mhm.
Bay, park right down the road from our condo where we walk from to go to the beach, park the people there, and they get on the boat and they sail out to stay on the island, and they do all these tours and excursions. So when you're in Punta Cana and they're approaching you with these tours
Yeah.
for stay on the island, they come
Oh,
to where I live at, Bay,
okay.
and they pour out of there. So for me and Solomon, was like, oh my God, yes, like yes,
I
this
love
is
it. Now,
yeah.
are you and your husband, you have the one property there in DR. Are you looking to get some more property in the area?
So we actually were in the process of purchasing another unit in a development right behind our condo. In full transparency, we had the reservation fee and everything, and we pulled out simply because our real estate attorney is amazing. Let me just put that out there. We noticed some things were not right.
Okay.
So we had our attorney step in and full force got our money back. And it wasn't the development's fault. It's because they didn't have a good agent. So the agent didn't do their due diligence the way they were supposed to. So it looked bad to us, who were very
Okay.
seasoned, and we understand real estate and we know how it goes. So we
Okay.
pulled out. The development still being built behind us, but the agent that they had representing them on our transaction, they didn't do their due diligence. So we pulled out.
You know
Um,
what? I love that you brought that up because it's one of the things with our international real estate program that we have, where agents, if they want to sell international real estate, they can come into the program. And so I put a pin and a pause in the program, even though, we're still in it. And the reason being is exactly what you said, is that who is representing the property? Are they putting out factual information? Is it correct? Are they quoting the right information? So the returns, the taxes on the property, what does the payment plan look like? The property management fee, like all the things as it relates to the property. So now I need to make sure that I'm also training and educating, going beyond what we've been doing before, to make sure that when people are out here speaking about these developments and properties, that we're using the right language, we're saying the right things, and that we are correct. Of course, people can make mistakes, you're human, but I just want to make sure that we are pretty much 100% clear when it comes to representing somebody's property, because it can make or break a deal. It can do exactly what you just said, what you like, pulling out. The investors could lose. Well, not the investors, the developer can lose out because you pull in the reservation back and then lost a client. That could have potentially been $100,000 deal, but now it's not. And so I think that that's very, very important what you said, that they just didn't have a good agent representing the property. So I appreciate that transparency. Now, y'all, if y'all have questions for Donzie, because she done already told you about how she done homeschooled her kids, her and her husband, they pretty much move around. She has some multiple businesses here. You heard about the real estate brokerage, her healthcare business that she has. And when you mentioned, I just want to say this before we move over to talk about Africa. What is nuclear? What is nuclear?
Nuclear medicine.
Yes. What is that?
So, nuclear medicine is another imaging modality within medical imaging. So, you know how you have like X ray, CT, MRI, mammo. Nuclear medicine is another imaging modality within medical imaging, but it also can be used from a therapeutic standpoint. So
Okay.
nuclear medicine is really growing. It's been around forever, way before I was born. But anyway, just to keep it simple, what that entails is I inject a radiopharmaceutical. So I inject radiation into patients, and depending on what organ the physician is interested in, I inject a radioactive specific isotope that goes to that organ. I then image the organ, I assess the organ, and then we allow the physician to know if the organ is functioning properly.
Okay.
We do have some therapeutic aspects too, to where we actually give patients iodine
Mhm.
for thyroid issues and stuff like that, to, of course, kill off the cells. So,
Mhm.
yeah, in a nutshell, that's what nuclear medicine is.
Wow, I had no idea. Now I'm very curious to go and like research this because you talked about like injecting like with a syringe radiation. But then when it comes to what I know about like X-rays, it's like, you're not really injected with anything. But that's very, very interesting. I have to go do some more research. Okay, so I just had to get that question out of the way, y'all, because my curious brain was like, what is that? Now, shifting from you, do you also own investment properties here in the States? So is it just international?
Yes, so we actually have, hold on, y'all. Praise the Most High. I got to count. Ain't that a blessing? Let's just
Come
talk.
on,
I got to think
count,
about.
girl.
Ain't that a blessing?
Yes.
Listen, listen. Okay, so we have, hold on, one, two, three, four in the States. Am I counting that
Okay.
right? Alan Mabel, four in the
Okay.
States.
So you have four investment properties in the States. I love that y'all had to count because I had is it more or you
Hold
leave
on,
out some
girl.
things?
My brain. Hold on. Okay, so we have one, two, three. I think it's three. Solomon, I think let's just say three.
Okay.
Let's just
So
say
you have
three.
three properties in the States.
Yeah, my brain is just like,
That's okay, girl. Three properties in the States, two overseas. But I had Nakia on, who was from Atlanta. Girl, her and her husband, they have invested in over 300 properties. So I asked her, and she was like, "I gotta go count." She's like, "I gotta get the number," and I said, "Okay," but I had no idea she was gonna come back with over 300 properties.
that is amazing. That
It
is
is.
amazing.
It is. So, and if you get a chance to like, I'm gonna send you her Instagram. But yesterday, her favorite line that I was like, that needs to be on a t-shirt because somebody said that the black community should forget about investing into real estate. And so she was like, "What?" And she was like, "I flip $1 million houses." I was like, "Oh, look at that bold statement." That this girl is
Wow. Wow.
$1 million houses. And right now, her and her husband just released a $1.8 million house in Atlanta. It looks gorgeous, Donzie. I'm gonna tag you in it. But now you have totally like added another country and continent and currency to your investment portfolio from the US to DR to now Africa, where you have invested in Ghana for the first time. But before we talk about your Ghana investment, you went to Ghana by yourself without the kids, without the hubby, and you went on like a 2-week trip around the country. Tell me about that. I was jealous. Like, where's she
Oh my gosh, it was so amazing, y'all. That was literally a soul searching journey for me. That was an obedient journey for me, and Makita knows the story. That was literally me just listening to the voice of the Most High and saying yes with all of the questions not answered, right? Like, who am I going to be with? What time am I going? Where I'm going to stay at? I didn't know anything. I just knew I had to get there. So I just kept hearing that urgency of get there, get there, get there. And I know the sound of the Most High. I know the voice. So there was no question as to where it was coming from. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to be obedient. And so we booked the flight, found the tour guide who was absolutely amazing. Makita also helped me with some places to go to, where not to go to, like where to stay and where not to stay. I went there, and when I tell y'all, that was the most fulfilling experience I have ever had. It was just that I felt like my cup was just being continuously poured into, like overflow. Like I felt like I was just running over, like just
Yeah.
overflow, overflow.
Listen,
Um,
girl, I know the feeling. I know the
it's
feeling.
it
I
was
keep trying to tell
beautiful.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell people it just, pulls and draws you in. But I need your tour guide because when I am not there for real estate investing and speaking, I do want to take the trip by myself, well, not by myself, with my husband around the country so that I can go beyond like Eastly gone, beyond across. So I want to get to
Mhm.
some of the other places that like you gone. And it was beautiful to watch.
Thank you.
From
And
there, go ahead.
that was the beauty of being able to kind of like do it alone,
Okay.
because my tour guide knew what I wanted. He knew what I needed. And so he took me, we even went and saw land far, far away. We walking through villages, looking at land on the mountaintop, looking down at water. And I'm like, no, I don't like this, too far. So he was exposing
Okay.
me to so much.
Oh, that's so
And to be exposed to the culture in an authentic way outside of Accra was everything for me. The Western region, the Northern region, like it was so much fun. And to get his perspective, the perspective from a native, right?
yeah.
A person who was born and raised there,
Don't they
telling
know
you,
history? Like they know their history
yes,
up and down. If
yes,
you ask anybody, they know the history.
yes, they know it all. They know it all. And they'll tell you real quick, no, that's a lie. Yeah, that's not, no, that's not what it is really, you know. So yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Okay. So then on that journey, you made time to go and see some real estate. So I connected you with a developer there. You
Mhm.
went, I think, immediately when you landed, and then
Soon as
you
I
went
landed.
back. You circled back and you went back to see the progress in like the 2 weeks period that you was there. And then it wasn't until you went back home that you was like, I want to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger and I'm going to invest in Ghana. Like, what made you invest in Ghana after speaking with your husband? Like, what made you make that decision?
Well, I knew for one, the reason behind me going to Ghana had great purpose. So I knew it just wasn't a vacation, right? I
Yeah.
knew it was supposed to be fulfilling on so many different levels. And while I was there, I received that fulfillment
Mhm.
in Moses's presence. So he was a piece of it,
Yeah.
right? So I knew at that moment when I connected with him, okay, this is a piece of the fulfillment. And that was the first day there, simply because of the wisdom that he had, the
Isn't that
spirit.
wisdom something else? Isn't there wisdom something else?
Say that again.
I said, isn't that wisdom? You said the wisdom
Oh
about
yeah,
him. He can Isn't the wisdom something else?
something else, honey. I'm telling you, it's like he's been here before. He has been here before. This is not
Being
his first time
28,
around.
yeah, being 28 years old and being a
Yeah,
developer and
just
having so
amazing.
much, yeah,
Yeah,
wisdom. And
yeah.
what I love is that, remember in the beginning of our conversation, you talked about how it's more so about dominion. When
Mm,
you walk his property and you hear like the plan, it's dominion. It's not
yeah.
just like I'm building a condominium or building a place. Like it's dominion because
Mm.
I went Donzie to the place a second time. I said, how do you? He telling me about the slab, telling me about the concrete, telling me about how many floors they going up, how they constructing the elevator. I said, Moses, why do you know all of this stuff as a developer? Like you are not a contractor. You're not required to even know all of these things, but he knows all this stuff. And so
All of it.
he wanted to know, especially for his first project, but I thought it was so powerful. But God reminded me that it's dominion. Like it's
Hmm.
dominion that he's
Hmm.
taking ownership of. And I love how he's connecting kingdom citizens to each country and continent and how we're now doing business together as
Yep.
kingdom citizens. And him being from, Africa, being from Ghana, you being from, where you from, girl? Is it Tennessee, New York?
I was born in North Carolina, but
Yeah,
Nashville,
see?
Tennessee. Yeah.
Okay. But like just from different areas and how he's bringing us together.
Yep.
Like
It's
I don't think
beautiful.
I don't think people get it. And I'm gonna say this, Donzie, you let me know what your take is. I was telling, I don't know who I was telling this to. I think it was Cassandra. Cassandra, if you're still on here. I was telling her, I said, people thought the last 2 years in me crossing territory and hopping on a plane and going to Indonesia, which is, a different continent from um, going to the Dominican Republic, which is in the Caribbean, but it's still a part of the North American continent. When you think about the earthly realm and the spiritual realm, there are things happening in both places. There is authority in both places. There is principality in both places. There is governance in both places. And as I was crossing time zones, I'm crossing into different territories within the earthly realm and the spiritual realm. And so, people, not everybody will get this, but as a chosen individual, going across different continents, time zones, countries, and dealing with different currencies, it wasn't that I was just shaking up territories, because God got people in place even before me, but it was like I was going into unfamiliar territory, being who I was and limited in my thinking. And so God sent me ahead for such a time that we are in now, that I now understand my assignment and my mandate to lead the people into the promised land. Whereas before, girl, I was just going on a trip. Y'all want to go to Indonesia and look at some real estate, but now I'm crossing over into different territories, dealing with different principalities and spiritual weaknesses and high places. I now know that I am not common. Like, I am not the same. And as a chosen individual crossing over, it's not the same. So as you were going and going through Ghana, do you feel some of that in your journey?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. I feel that in the journey. To be fully transparent again, when we pursued DR, it was there.
Okay.
And the energy, it was right before we actually went under contract. The energy was definitely off. There was a tug, there was a pull, there were no's, there was, that's impossible. A lot of questions started to be asked, and I had to learn how to not say the wrong thing, right? I had to learn how to speak a certain way in order to move through that particular situation.
Okay.
So yes, and we're still, I'm gonna tell you, Makita, we're still going through it right now. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm going
Yeah.
through it right now, and I'm like, okay, this is part of it. This is part of the journey, because it is dominion,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not gonna be easy when
Yeah.
it's dominion, because when it's dominion, it's sustained. It's sustained.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's going to sustain past your presence. So you can't expect for it to be easy when it's dominion. So yeah, I
Yeah.
can totally agree with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just was like, it's
Absolutely.
hard to explain, but I know that
I live
people
it.
get it, like you get it. And so when I make my moves, it's not just I'm going on a trip. Now, we're not just going on a trip. We're going to take up territory. We're going to take up space. We're going to take up dominion. We're going to shake up fallow ground. Like, it's bigger than real estate. So that being said, um, I want to say thank you for being on here, because you got a chance to, I got a chance to learn more about you as well. And I love the beauty in which you explain what Yah is doing in your presence and what he is doing in your life. And I just love the authenticity of it. I love the transparency of it. I'm one, that's very transparent, and I just love how authentic you are. And I think that's why we connect as well, because you're very authentic. Before we even got on here, you were like, I want to tell the real. Like, I want to tell the girl, tell it, girl. Tell it. And you did just that. What do you want? I wanted people, before you give us your last words, I wanted you to come on, because I wanted people to see somebody that was creating Black history in their own right, between you and your husband and your children, because it's not just you and him, but your children, that will take over the legacy in which you're leaving, a global inheritance. And to be able to see somebody that look like them, that is defying the odds. Not that it has been easy for you, because you had to fight to get up out of a hole and be like, okay, I'm going to do this. You had to call on your circle. Now that you and your husband, 3 investment properties here in the States, you have one in Dominican Republic, you have one in Ghana. What's next for you? What's next for you all? Ooh.
Um, you put me on the spot. What's next is something that is really big, and I can't say yet. I can't say it just yet.
I love it because we are very, very innovative, and like the next thing, sometimes you can reveal it, sometimes you can't. So I get it, but I know it's going to be huge. And there's the smile on your face. You're like, yeah, girl, it's huge, it's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for it. It's gonna position us into a different space, unfamiliar territory. But I'm excited. It's gonna be good, and we're working hard toward it and holding on to the Most High, using all the information that we have, and just not letting go. So yeah, we're gonna just keep traveling and enjoy life. Hopefully, I'll be able to see you in Tanzania one time. Like, that's on my radar. That one in Rwanda.
Oh
So
yeah, I want to go to Rwanda, but then when I heard, what was happening with them in the Congo, I was like, man, people just told me to go to Rwanda. So now that's on pause. But I also, last question.
mhm.
For those people who are fearful in going to Africa and traveling to the continent, what would you say about those people who are kind of like fearful in like getting outside of the country and going to explore different territories?
I heard, what is her name? Priscilla Schreier, I think that's her name. She told me a long time ago, if there's any feeling of fear attached to something,
Mm-hmm.
that means there's something big, bigger than you, behind that door.
Mm.
So if
Okay.
you're fearful about something, that means you need to go even harder toward that thing. Don't run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Go harder toward it and do it. If you're scared to do it alone, don't do it alone. Take somebody with you that's a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
But don't fear it. Don't fear anything. Go through it, go to it, go do it. Trust in the Most High to cover, lead, protect, and guide, as already promised.
Mm-hmm.
And keep that assurance in your heart to know and believe in the Most High to do what is promised.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have to speak anything. Sometimes we're too weak for a prayer to utter anything. But just keep what you believe in your heart, and be assured in it. Don't hope in it. Sometimes, I know I'm gonna rub some people the wrong way. Sometimes faith ain't good enough, y'all. We have to be assured, because when you're assured, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You're not believing and hoping to see, you already know, because you're assured. I know that I know. So I don't have to hope in it. I don't have to hope to see it. I already know and believe for it. So you got to walk like that and live like that. No matter what they're saying, or no matter what you see in front of you, just go. Don't be afraid. Just go do that thing. Call me if you need somebody to push you on through. I'll push you. I might even go with you.
And you are 100% correct, because even my therapist, she was like, Makita, you trying to put faith into it. Like, she was like,
Mm,
I need you to come back. And she's a pastor. She's like, I need you to
mm.
come back
Come on now.
because I need you to work on a natural right here. So write it down. She's like,
Mm,
get a pen and paper and like write down, these feelings. I was like, well, I don't want to put these negative feelings on paper. She was like, that's the faith speaking. But she was like, I
mm,
need you to tackle this naturally. And so it's exercises that we have to do naturally. And then she said, now when you do this natural exercise and you couple it with the scripture, and I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. Like, when you begin to couple it with scriptures, it's even more powerful. So you didn't rub me the wrong way.
Continue to rub me the wrong
Yeah,
way.
it
And
needs
there
to
was
be
one more thing. You're so welcome, Cassandra. There's one more thing. This morning,
uh,
I had a moment. I was like, but y'all, how? And all I heard was live it,
live it,
live it.
live it.
Live what you know to be true. The action of actually living it, right? You shouldn't have to speak a dang on thing. You shouldn't have to say nothing. Just live it. Live what you know to be true. And then the rest must follow. The rest will attach to you. It will find you, literally. It will find you. So just live it. Live what you know to be true.
Live it.
Yeah.
All right, girl. I love them two-letter words. Make it so simple.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Donzie, for taking out time throughout your day to come on to like just share what you and your husband are building, what you're doing. I learned a lot. I know the audience learned a lot, and I can't wait to have you back again. I don't know where our paths are going to cross, in 2025, but right now, we're working through this the deal with Ghana, and I'm excited for you because that project will be complete in March, like complete in March of 2026. So I can't wait to be able to like walk a finished ground.
Yes, yes. And thank you so much, Makita, for this opportunity. This was a blessing. This is such a blessing for me. And I'm just so grateful to be on this platform with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We're gonna do it again. But
Yes,
in
girl.
the meantime, congratulations on all of your success and everything that you and your husband is doing. You have inspired me as well. Yes, this was amazing. I agree. Thank you, Donzie, for your inspiring words of encouragement. That's exactly what she left us with. So thank you, girl. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure if y'all enjoyed this live, make sure you reshare it. It's on Instagram, it's on YouTube. If you are wanting to reach out to Donzie, I'm also going to drop her contact information in the comments below so that way you can reach out to her and connect, y'all. So thank you. Thank you, Donzie.
Thank you. Bye.